Oh, okay, we're going to be looking at some natural remedies, a lot of different natural remedies, and just showing you how you can turn your kitchen into your health store. I'm going to try to get through these real fast because there are some cases here, some particular problems here that I want to address. And I know you've come a long ways and it's important to you. There's some serious problems. And I'm hoping that I can spend some time to at least give you a little hope and kind of share with you what we're doing with different types of cancer, life-threatening diseases. Now, I specialize in life-threatening diseases. I've done this for many years. And I do know quite a bit about it because I spent, for the last 40-some years, that's all I've done. I have not worked for man. My whole life has encompassed working with life-threatening diseases, and that's every day of my life for the last 45 years. And I worked with so many different types of life-threatening diseases, and that's really what I want to talk about. But I'm hesitant sometimes because sometimes it can be so graphic and so distressful, so stressful to see so much. But I have to let you see it so I can explain to you the results of it and then what we can do to reverse some of those problems. So I'm going to try to get through this, and then I'm going to try to spend a little time addressing some of your problems that have come, and then some of you may have some questions and answers you might want to ask me before we stop. So I'm going to begin first to go over some of these things. I guess this is working now. The first thing I'm going to talk about is honey. Now, you can do a lot with honey. And one of the best things, there are many wonderful things you can do with honey. But a lot of time, I work with a lot of cancerous wounds, diabetic sores that have a hard time healing. And what I would do is, I personally like Manuka honey that we get from New Zealand. It's the best, but this honey will work also. And I like to take equal parts honey and turmeric powder. And I mix that together, and I apply that over a gangrene sore, cancerous sore, and it really is fantastic. So if you're having a problem with a wound healing, it could be a cancerous sore, a diabetic sore, no matter what it is. If it's an open wound, it's hard to heal, take equal part honey and turmeric and apply it over it. And it will serve as a mucous membrane until the body was able to grow back its own mucous membrane. Honey is antiviral, antifungal. It kills infections. It reduces microbes. It's just fantastic. The Egyptians used honey to embalm a lot of their pharaohs and a lot of important people because it preserves the body, preserves the flesh from breaking down. You can take a dead rat and drop him in a bowl of honey, and it will preserve him. He will not break down. So honey is just fantastic. Now, another good thing for honey is if you have eye problem, you can take 1 drop of honey and drop it in your eyes at night. It's going to sting a little bit, but honey, once again, it will totally disinfect the eye, and it will strengthen your eyes. So 1 drop of honey at night. Another wonderful thing is 1 drop of lemon juice. You cut this lemon in half, you squeeze 1 drop in the eyes, 1 drop of lemon juice in the morning, 1 drop of honey at night. This is really good for cataracts, glaucoma. Fantastic for it. Sister Melba, if you would just take that vegetable glycerin right there, it's right there, a bottle of vegetable glycerin, and you open that, and I want you to put a teaspoon of the vegetable glycerin in about 4 ounces of water. And then I want about half a teaspoon of salt. Half a teaspoon of salt. You can kind of guess at it. Just kind of guess at what you think a teaspoon is. And while she's getting that, you can use this salt right here. Yeah, use that salt. And just kind of guess at what you think a teaspoon, because we don't have a teaspoon here. Okay, with the lemon, while she's working on that, take 1 drop of lemon, squeeze that in your eye in the morning. 1 drop of honey. Yes, 1 drop of honey at night. You do that for 21 days. If you got weak eyes, you want to stop wearing your glasses, this will strengthen your eyes. And so you don't have to wear glasses. I don't wear glasses. I don't plan to wear glasses. And I'm 69 years old, and I do a lot of reading, and I got perfect eyesight, okay? I'm thinking that's got a little something to do with it. I'm going to promote that at least. But anyway, you try it. It stings. Yes, it does. It stings. You put lemon in your eyes, it stings. But you learn obedience from the things which you suffer. Because sometimes a little spanking help us, you know. And but it only stings for a short period, about 30 to 60 seconds. It stops stinging, and your eyes feel so refreshed, and your eyes feel stronger. So just try it, and you'll be amazed at just how well it works. Okay, just guess at about a teaspoon of salt. I mean, a half a teaspoon of salt. Okay, I'll stop you. Keep going. Okay, a little bit more. Okay, that's good. And about 4 ounces of water. Now, another good thing with the lemon, if you have hemorrhoids, you have fissues or hemorrhoids. Now, if you've had burning hemorrhoids, and they can be aggravating, cut a lemon in half, lay a person on his stomach, spread his cheeks, and squeeze the lemon juice right between his cheeks. Now, most people say, wow, that's going to sting and burn. Well, to be real, you're already stinging and burning if you got real hemorrhoids. This do not sting at all. This works as an astringent. You suck a lemon, you puck up your lips, it's an astringent. It actually causes the hemorrhoids to tighten back up. They're loose, they're hanging out, this tighten them back up because it's an astringent. It works better than Preparation H. I like it because it's God's own Preparation H. So try a little lemon juice on those hemorrhoids, and you'll be amazed how well it would work. Now, Melvin's working on another one here, about 4 ounces of water. Okay? She's working on eye drop. And this is a very expensive eye drop that I learned from some of the trauma doctors and the trauma center. And when a person have a major head injury and they have a lot of pressure in the brain and the eyes, and they want to drop the pressure because if the pressure stay elevated, it would destroy their optic nerve. The same thing with glaucoma. All you need to do to make this very expensive eye drop that got a fancy Latin name is a little glycerin, a little water, and a little salt. That's it. And they put a nice little name on it and make you think you really got something fantastic. This will lower the pressure of glaucoma. So what you want to do is to put about 2 or 3 drops in your eyes twice a day, and this will help bring down the pressure of glaucoma. It's a fantastic eye drop. So if you know somebody with glaucoma, let them try it. Now, there's some other things. These are quick remedies. Anytime you give a treatment, it needs to be a complete protocol. But this session is just quick remedies. Do you understand that? To give a complete protocol, I would give him some of those carrot juice. We got some carrots over there. I would give him some vitamin C. We got some vitamin C up here. I would let him drink plenty of water. I would also make them a beautiful bowel cleanser. Here's some psyllium husk. I would take 1 pound of psyllium husk, and I would take some slipper am. I'd take 1/3 of a pound of slipper am. I would take 1/3 of a pound of alfalfa powder, and I would take about 1 ounce of mandrake, cascara sagrada, mix it up real good, and I'd make me a nice bowel cleanser. And I would let a person, and this is the mandrake, and I let them make it up, and I let them mix it all up together, take 1 heaping tablespoon of the total mix that in about 5 to 6 ounces of water, shake it up real good, and drink that 2 to 3 times a day. That's going to give you really large bowel movements. It's going to be so large that you're going to be frightened to flush it down the commode because you're going to think it's going to stop up. Have you ever seen these little children, they're so small that their feet just don't even touch the floor when they sit on the commode? And they get up and they done filled up the commode, and you wonder, wow, I don't think it's going to flush. And you wonder where it all come from. Well, they haven't lived long enough to mess up their colon yet. You see, when we have a little bowel movement, it comes out about the size of our little pinky. It is because we have spent years and what? Robbing our body of essential nutrients, depriving ourselves of fiber and roughage, and so we end up with these little spastic bowels that's about the size of my little finger. So remember, we need plenty of roughage, plenty of fiber, plenty of water, plenty of exercise, and you'll be amazed at how you could have some really large bowel movements. I'm going to go through these, like I said, real quick. It's onion right here. Onion is something you should always have in your medicine cabinet or your kitchen. Cut this onion in half. Put it in the oven and heat it up. And once you get it good and warm, take some garlic juice, garlic oil. And the way you make garlic oil is to press the garlic in olive oil. Make some garlic oil, not pure garlic. Press the garlic in olive oil. Put 2 drops of garlic oil in your ear, both sides. Take the warm onion poultice, apply one on your left ear and one on your right ear, and wrap that. This is fantastic for an ear infection, for a middle ear infection. And it will draw the infection right out of the middle ear. Also, it's very good for candida, yeast infection of the middle ear. Fantastic. Try this. It's an old Russian remedy where they would put a string through this onion, tie it up, and hang it on the ceiling, and it would pull all the infection out the room if a person have a cold, a flu, an infection. Onion would draw all the infection in the onion. A good and wonderful treatment. Now, remember, you made up a cough remedy, you started at least, and what you mixed up was some garlic, ginger, and onion. And I'm going to let her take about 2 ounces of this mixture and put it, I'll tell you what, take about 1 cup, since the cup is so small, about 1 ounce of this mixture, and she's going to put it in a cup. Now, that's enough. The thing is, I don't know how well it's going to work because it's a styrofoam cup. And when you use that with peppermint, it breaks down the cup, okay? So, but we'll try it anyway. Now, I want you to put in here, it would be better if I had a glass. Okay, so while she's going and getting that, we'll go to something else. I'll tell you what, while she's working on that, then we will work on making an iron drink. There are some people who have problem with a low hemoglobin, have to have a blood transfusion, especially people with leukemia or some type of blood condition, and they have to have frequent blood transfusions because their red count drops. When their red count drops, it pulls down the white count and it affects their platelets also. If you have low platelets, all you need to do is get you some papaya leaves, make a good strong tea out of papaya leaves, and drink that, and that'll bring up your platelets, and then sometime that'll help bring up your red count. Okay, and if they come up, they automatically pull up your white count. So remember now, if your red count go down, it's going to bring down your platelets, and it's going to bring down your white count. They work together harmoniously. So you want to bring up that red count, that automatically will adjust the white count and the platelets. So let's see how we can do that. Remember, we're going to take, we'll come back to that. Remember, we're going to take our raisins, and I don't know how well you'll be able to see this, but we'll talk through it. With the raisins, she's going to use, and based on this, what we have here, I'll say about 2 ounces of raisins. Take that big, large spoon you have right there. Let's take about 1 spoon of those raisins. Yes, and that's good. Okay, and then we're going to take 1 spoonful of apricots, and we're going to use about equal parts of these dry fruits to make it easy for you to make up. You make up any proportion you want. So I'm just telling her to take 1 heaping tablespoon, a serving tablespoon, but you use equal parts of these dry fruit. And so these are apricots. Now, apricots is extremely high in iron. It's one of the highest sources of a plant-based iron. And then we're going to take, I believe those are figs. Well, we had the figs, and we're going to use also some prunes. Those are the prunes. And she's going to use 1 tablespoon of the prunes. All of these foods are very high in natural iron. And by the way, this is a delicious drink. And believe it or not, this is how you make wine. And if you do this wrong, you will make a big pitcher of wine. And it will get you drunk. So I'm not trying to teach you how to make wine, but this is actually what it is. And you cannot let this ferment, because if it's set, you let it set 1 night out of the refrigerator, and you got to keep it refrigerated. If you let it set 2 or 3 nights, you just made a big jug of wine. Okay, now what you want to do is to take this wild cherry, a tot cherry, and she's going to add at least probably that capful, and we're going to put about 1 ounce of this cherry, wild cherry, black cherry concentrate. We're going to add that to our, and it is really high in iron. This is a very high iron drink. She's going to take about 1 ounce of this black cherry concentrate. Mm-hmm. Okay. That's good. All right, so now we're almost there. Now what she wants to do is to take her grape juice, and she's going to fill the pitcher up with grape juice. So at least need to be a little better than 1 quart. So we're going to fill it up, and that should be good. Okay, now, you can chop up the dried fruit if you want to. You could blend them up, and that's just make them actually age quicker. But you can let it set on your counter overnight, and it will draw out all the iron properties out of these foods. I got one last thing I left out, and that's some blackstrap molasses. Some blackstrap molasses will be the last one, and then we'll let that set overnight. And we're going to put about 1 ounce of blackstrap molasses in there. And just mix that up, that's right. And what this will do, if your red blood count is real low, you drink about 2 ounces of this at least 2 to 3 times a day. By the time you have consumed a gallon of this here over a week, or how long it takes you to do it, it should have brought up your red blood count. Okay, it's a more plant-based iron. Now, doctors give you iron supplements or iron tablets, and those are mineral-type irons that can constipate you. This type of iron will not constipate you. It's very laxative forming. So, and what actually takes place as your red blood cells travel through your bloodstream and it goes through the lungs, it goes through a system called hemoglobin. It oxidizes and the red cells expand. The iron in the cells is what makes that take place. When it comes in contact with oxygen and moisture, it causes red blood cells to expand so they can get larger, so they can pick up more nutrients and they can take more oxygen out to the body. A person with sickle cell is where their cells like a sickle, so when they go through hemoglobin, it cannot pick up enough oxygen, so their body go into trauma. It starts spasms, and that's when they start having these attacks, sickle cell attacks, because it cannot pick up enough oxygen. A simple program like this will help a sickle cell patient. And I'm not going to talk much on that because there's some other things you have to do with sickle cell. But any type of red blood problem, this will help a lot. Now let's go back to our cough remedy. And we're going to take about a spoonful of our, once again, now tell us, that was garlic, and that was onion and ginger mixed. And we're going to take some peppermint extract. I'm just going to about a half of a teaspoon. This is about a half of a teaspoon. I'm going to put just a little bit more in there. Okay? About a half a teaspoon of the peppermint. And now this is cayenne. And maybe I should use the tincture. This is cayenne tincture right here. You can use the powder. And I don't really know how hot this cayenne is, but I'm just not going to put too much in there. And now what we want to do is to take some honey, and we're going to fill this glass up, about 4 or 5 ounces of honey. And now you want to mix that up real good. Now, the only thing I left out is the lemon juice, and I won't really worry about that, but the lemon juice, I would like to probably put about 2 or 3 ounces of lemon juice in there. And that makes a wonderful cough remedy. And this is if anybody have any type of respiratory problem. Now, if you really want to make this very potent, take you some horseradish root, and you put at least 1 pot horseradish root. Chop it up, blend it up like you did the garlic and the ginger, and add it, and it really gives a boost to it because that horseradish will pull out that mucus. You know, if you have a lot of mucus in your lungs and you're just constantly coughing, you want to draw it all out, the horseradish will help pull all of that out. So that's a very wonderful respiratory syrup right there. We have some vinegar here, and this is the apple cider vinegar. What we use this for is any type of pain, arthritic pain. So you can take this and put it in a pail. Just get it, warm it up real hot, soak your feet in it. If you have gout, if you have arthritic joints problem, you can soak your feet in the hot vinegar, and it'll pull out that uric and purine acids that is trapped in the joints. Very good treatment. So especially if you have gout, where there's a lot of buildup of purine acids. Okay, Melba, this is one here. I want you to take 1 spoon, big spoonful of this. This is a vegetable shortening, and I'm going to let you hold it because I'm going to be doing something else while you're doing that. With that you take that and put that in a bowl. I don't know if we can use that bowl. It might work out. We can try it. It may work out since that, I'm not going to use much of that spirit in there. Just go ahead and put 1 spoon, big spoon of that in there. And while you're doing that, I'll be talking on something else. Put that, a full spoonful of that. Vegetable shortening, And then what I want you to do is get that cayenne pepper. Put 6 teaspoons of cayenne pepper. I guess if you're going to use that tincture right there, yeah. Well, if you're going to use that tincture, then use probably about, you're going to use probably about 1/2 ounce of that tincture mixed into this salve. So take about a 1/2 ounce of that tincture and mix it in the salve. Yeah, I'll help you with it. Okay, I'll do it. Now, I'm a dumper. Anyway, when I'm in the kitchen, I dump. I don't measure nothing. It comes out all right. Okay? You mix that together. Now, do the same thing with that peppermint. Get that peppermint over there, the same thing. Yeah, just dump it, that's all. They don't have to eat it. Now, I'm taking about 1/2 ounce of peppermint. Okay, now it's just the cayenne, the peppermint, and you could add ginger to it. Because it has some water base in it, let me have it just a minute, Melba. Because it has some water base in it, it's hard for it to mix with the water base, so you have to emulsify it. And you can cause it to mix together. Now, this little bowl is giving me a problem, but you whip it, and you cause the water and the oil to mix together. I'm going to put it down here where I can try to get it. I can whip it, because in order to do that, you got to be able to whip it to make it mix, because oil and water typically will not mix. Now, I teach people how to make a lot of toiletries, deodorant, toothpaste, washing powder, every kind of toiletry, lotion. When they come to my school, they have to learn how to make all of these things. And they make their own deodorants and roll-on deodorants and face creams and shaving creams and everything. And the simple thing is like what I just did. See, I mixed the water base with the fat, and you emulsified that. And so now it's mixed, and it's a nice, good cream, and you can use that as a means of applying a pain salve. And what I would simply do with this here, and if the cayenne was hot enough, I'm not sure, but I would simply apply this here. And if it's not hot enough, then I would have used that powdered cayenne. I'm not familiar with that tincture. And you simply apply that over directly on a person's body where they may have pain on their back, pain on their knee, don't matter. You lay that on there and you wrap it, okay? And if that cayenne is hot enough, this will get hot, and it will stay hot all night long. And it will add heat to the wound, to the muscles, and reduce the muscle spasm. This is a cayenne heating salve. Another good thing is, and I use this product a lot because I work with a lot of people with little small tumors right up under the skin, little cysts right up under the skin. I cut off just this outer peeling, very thin layer of this outer peeling from this pineapple, and then I take that and I lay that over a little small cyst, and a little small tumor, and I wrap it up, and I leave that on for 5 or 6 days. It's going to burn a hole right there where that tumor is. It'll burn a hole, put a sore in it, and what'll happen is Once it makes a sore, that tumor will begin to come out like that. It'll come out like that, and it will set up on the top of the body, just set up there like that. And when it's set up there like that, you cauterize that. You cauterize that, and that cut off the blood flow. That tumor die and fall off the body. And the way you cauterize that, you take an herb called bloodroot. You take a herb named bloodroot and golden seal and zinc chloride. You mix it together, and you apply it on that little tumor sticking up like that, and it will dry that tumor up and cauterize it. Now, what I mean about cauterizing is, you ever seen where people would take a rubber band and wrap it on a little puppet's tail, a brand new puppet tail? Well, we do it. I know some of the sisters saying, no way. But some of the brothers may know what I'm talking about. You want to bob him. You want to have him a bob tail. And you wrap that rubber band real tight on his tail. 7 to 10 days, that tail going to fall off. And it won't bleed. It won't hurt him or nothing. And you bobbed his tail. You cauterized it. You cut off the blood supply. And that tail would die. You can do a little tag moles and cysts on your body. You have a little tag cyst. You can take a pair of thread and tie it real tight and tighten it up and leave it on there. And guess what's going to happen to that little tag cyst? It's going to fall off because you cauterized it. So those are just some simple things. Here's another thing you can do with white potato. You can take the white potato, make a French fry out of it. Now, y'all know how to make French fries. Just cut this and make a nice French fry out of it, and then bevel it a little bit like a suppository. Slip that up in a person's rectum. Not the whole potato, the French fry. The French fry, okay? Put the French fry up in the rectum and push it as far up in there as you can get it, and that potato will absorb the inflammation right out of the hemorrhoids. It is really a very easy treatment for inflammatory rectum and hemorrhoids. If you have fissues of the rectum mean chapped lips of the rectum, if I can explain. You ever had a real bad case of chapped lips, and you open your mouth and they crack and they burn and they hurt? Well, people get chapped rectal area, which is called fissues. If you ever have that problem, you ever meet anybody with that problem, take 1 ounce of olive oil and squirt it up in the rectum, and that will eliminate that problem. It's one of the best treatments for dealing with that. Another good treatment, this is one of my favorite ones, is I'll take grapefruit, and I pull out the meat of the grapefruit, and I marinate that with Epsom salt. I marinate that with Epsom salt. In other words, I would take some Epsom salt, and I would just put it in a bowl. Then I would marinate that, cover that up real good with the Epsom salt. Then I'll take that meat of that grapefruit, and I put that in a pot of hot boiling water and boil it. I take it out of the hot boiling water, marinate it again with Epsom salt all over it. Then I would take it out, put it in the peeling, and now I got a nice little cup. So when I want to apply this as a poultice, it works fantastic. If the person have had a laceration and they do not want to have stitches, and if you fast enough to give this treatment before the swelling set in, they will not need stitches. You take this and you apply that over the wound. You apply that over the wound area, and you wrap that. And you leave that on overnight. And what it will do, it will cause the wound, and this is the wound that is open, the laceration is open. Your body produces a natural mucus that serves as a glue to glue your tissue back together again. But because the swelling set in, it keeps it from touching. So now you got to wait till the swelling go down till your tissue touch again, and then the glue will glue it back together again, the natural glue. If you can apply ice on the wound while you're getting ready, the grapefruit, that will stop the swelling. Then the tissue would automatically touch, and it will secrete a mucus that mucus will seal the wound and glue it back together again. That's the natural glue that God has put in every one of us through our mucous membrane. Now, if for some reason you didn't have a chance to do that, you can go and buy you some crazy glue. It might sound crazy, but believe it or not, when they made crazy glue, it was not crazy glue. It was called surgical glue. And it worked so good as surgical glue, they decided maybe we can find another market for this. They sold it as crazy glue too. But crazy glue originally was surgical glue. So if a person got a cut, you can take a little bead of crazy glue and put it on the wound, close it up, and it will seal the wound back. And you don't have to worry about that. All right? Overnight. With charcoal, and I'm going to open up some questions for you in a little bit, so write your questions down. With the charcoal, this is a wonderful poultice. You can take charcoal and flaxseed, make a charcoal flaxseed poultice. And I love to mix them together because the flaxseed complement the charcoal real well. And it has a strong drawing properties, and it reduces swelling and inflammation. So you boil your flaxseed, take about 3 to 4 tablespoons of flaxseed, boil that in about a pint of water. Then, once you get it good and hot, then you put that flaxseed tea in a bowl, keep adding your charcoal to it until you get a thick poultice out of it. Spread that out on a piece of cloth, wrap that over a person's injury, and that works really good to reduce swelling and inflammation. If you have a digestional problem, you can take 1 tablespoon of activated charcoal, put it in some water and drink it, and that will help with your digestional problems. If you have a baby that have colic or some type of digestional problem, you cannot give them charcoal like that. You take a teaspoon of charcoal, put it in a glass of water, let the sediment set to the bottom, take the charcoal water off the top, and give it to a baby. That'll clear their colic or digestional problems. Just fantastic remedies God has given us. Probably the kingpin of all remedies is this one right here. And what you want to do with this remedy is to pound them. You want to pound these leaves one at a time. You want to bruise these leaves. And the reason you want to bruise these leaves is these leaves have oxidizing enzymes in them. And they oxidize real fast. When they unite with the nitrogen in the atmosphere, they begin to just oxidize. And so, but that oxidation brings about a drawing effect, and it pulls the inflammation right out the body. Bruise about 4 leaves of the cabbage, lay them on top of each other, and apply that over the wound and wrap that. I don't care if it's in the back, I don't care where it is, wrap that and secure that real well, and these cabbage will draw out the inflammation. This is probably the most powerful remedy that I'm going to share with you here today. And then finally, I just stuck this here for you that want to know how abnormal testicles that may have a lump in it. This is what this is. This is a male testicle, okay? And it's got lumps in there, and it tells you how to, every man ought to know how to examine. You know, we tell sisters, examine your breast, you know what I mean? And make sure it ain't got no lumps in it. But brothers, you need to know how to examine too. And because it can have a lump. I have worked with so many cancer of the testicles this year. I'm working with a 19-year-old boy now that's in the end stages of this. I worked with another young man out in California, had one. His testicle was bigger than this, much larger than this. It was almost as big as a cantaloupe. And I had to really do some treatments on him. I had to do some laser treatments. I had to do a lot of poultice. And I was able to get those testicles down to the normal size. But it took a lot of work. So you need to know how to feel that. I'm going to hand it to my dear brother right here. You can just feel it and pass that around. They can play with that a little bit. See, he don't need it, he don't think right now. See, us old men, we smart enough to know that we better check it out. Okay, now, before I get into these longs here, this is an herbal cigarette. My wife talked about the herbal cigarettes. And this is a carton of them. And they look just like cigarettes. And guess what? They smoke just like cigarettes. Melba, if you take one of those out for me if you can. They smoke just like cigarettes. And most of the time when I demonstrate this, I light it up and smoke it, because I ain't scared of it. Because I know the good effects of it. Now, you take this. It's all herbal based. You give this to a person that's a smoker, tell them to smoke this for 2 weeks, and don't use nothing but this when you have to smoke. This will draw all the nicotine and tar out of his lungs. And once the nicotine and tar is gone, he will lose the craving to smoke. This will not cure him of smoking. It simply takes away the craving. The beauty of it is, one of the biggest things with smokers is they have to put it between their hand and do that. They have to do that. That means a lot, to just be able to put it and light it up. And psychologically, it makes them think they're still smoking. So I would advise, if you know somebody's smoking, introduce them to the herbal cigarettes. Now, you can get these online. There are many companies that are making them. And, try it. You'll be amazed to see how well it works. Now, you can get the chewing tobacco. You can get the snuff. They all make natural tobacco and chewing tobacco, snuff. They make it out of herbs, and it does the same thing. It gets that. Cigars the same way. All of that is to help them overcome their craving for smoking. All right? I'm just about finished, and then I can open up to some questions on this segment, and then I'm going to spend a little time. Okay, yeah, the infrared light. The infrared light is a good treatment. And this is a really good, fantastic treatment. I was so happy to see Melbourne make that. Her and her husband put that together because they learned how to make this at the school. And to see them run ahead and make their own apparatus. Now, the one I have at home, it could have anywhere from 6 to 8 lights in it. This is an infrared light. And what we do with that is we rub a person down with olive oil, and then we pat them down with a solvent called DMSO. And the DMSO is the #1 solvent it is. Once you put it on the skin, it will penetrate right into your skin, into your bloodstream. It is one of the few solvents that has the ability to do that. A lot of times when I'm working with cancer, as I'm doing, have right now, I have cancer patients, have cancer of the throat, cancer of the stomach, and they cannot eat, they cannot take herbs. So I have to send the cancer herbs right through the skin into the bloodstream. And so I will rub them down with the olive oil, and then I will take my herbal chemo, and I would rub them down with the herbal chemo, and then I will pat them down with DMSO on the top of it, and I could send that right through the skin into the bloodstream, bypassing the gastric tract. This DMSO is a natural solvent that they get from pine trees. It's a natural solvent they get from pine trees, from the sawdust of pine trees. You really need to know how to use it. It is not dangerous, but it can be dangerous because it's a solvent. That means that if you put it on your skin, if you have any chemicals, anything that's toxin, it could take it right into your bloodstream. This is the only bad thing about it. It's nothing wrong with the DMSO, but if you got some perfume, Clorox, whatever on your skin, it could take it into your bloodstream. So whatever DMSO come in contact with it, when it passes into your blood, it's going to take it with it. But what we do, we rub them down with olive oil first, then we put DMSO on it, because DMSO transports so fast through the skin and through the muscles that it can irritate the skin. So the olive oil cut down the rapid absorption of DMSO so that it won't irritate the skin. This apparatus here is for pain and boosting your immune system. So if a person got back pain, knee pain, I don't care what kind of pain, this will help them in their painful condition, all right? Over here is, this is a healthy lungs. And if I can get my son, if he's in there, put on the cancer, I already get the cancer PowerPoint. There's a cure for cancer. I was going to do this morning. See, can y'all get that going out of my hard drive? It probably worked best if you use my hard drive to play that. And so go to my hard drive and look for the a cure for cancer. Okay, now this one here is a healthy lung. This is a real lung. This is a real pig lung. Pig. All right? Now I'm going to tell you, this is what they used in the lab first. Pig organs is almost identical to human organs. Do you know the reason why? By beholding, we become changed. We have ate so much of the pig that genetically we are more like him, or he's more like us. And so we have gone through mutation. And so it looked just like a human lung. It functions so much like it that they can actually take pig organs and place it in the human body, and it will function for a period of time. A lot of your medications are made from pig because your body will accept the pig more than it will any other animal. Now this is a healthy lungs. And this lung here respirate real nice. And when you breathe in healthy oxygen. And you breathe out the carbon dioxide gases. And every moment, your body's doing this. And it should have a pink, nice color like that. But when a person smokes, you're going to see in a little bit, it do not look like that. And notice how this lung is inflating, how large it inflates. Now, who would like to be brave enough to like to feel this pig lung? I don't know why the children always be ready to do it. Whenever I go somewhere, the children, boy, they be ready to check it out. I pray these are our future doctors and nurses, you know. It's up to your mother. If your mother don't mind, you have to put on a pair of gloves. And as long as your parents don't mind, there was no problem. But the children are brave. I mean, they are something. The future is with them. Our time is past. Okay. You want to? You have second thoughts? Yes. You didn't think it was real? She said, I got second thoughts. I didn't think it was real. She thought it was play. Are you going to come up, young man? Okay, here's somebody. Okay. She thought it was play. No, this is a real thing here. Okay, there are medical missionary at. Now, we're going to put the gloves on because he's an unclean animal. Now, I have the solution on it to keep it from rotting. It will not rot as long as a solution is on it. Okay, so let me see here. You come around this way, and you can check him. Just squeeze on him a little bit. How about that?
How about that? Okay, so another with the other hand or what?
Yeah, you can.
All right.
Do it feel real?
Well, it's real, right?
All right, now.
Oh, not yet.
Unless you, okay, I'll tell you what, if nobody else is going to try it, I'm going to let you. We have another one? Okay, then, yes, you can take those gloves off. Oh, is that your son? You're trying to draft him, huh? He said, no way.
All right, where's the trash?
Okay. All right, then. I say that the father sometimes got to go to the forefront. All right. And the reason I want you to touch it is because I'm going to put the bad lung, the cancerous lung on there, and I'm going to let you feel the tumors in the lungs.
Pastor said I could take a piece and take it home.
Ain't that something?
No, what you said. Take a piece and have it tonight. Huh?
Look at that. You see that left and right lung, lobe of the lung.
Nobody?
Oh, it's real.
This is what we have inside?
That's what we got inside of us.
Let's
pray it look like that.
Is it the right and left one?
Mm-hmm.
I saw it in the human's body in Vegas. You know when they have those bodies?
Mm-hmm.
The real bodies?
Yeah.
And this thing's dark.
Right. And we're going to look at a dark one in just a little bit here.
Totally dark.
Okay. Mm-hmm. It ain't so bad once you touch it.
Very spongy.
Yeah. Okay, now let me remove this and you stay right here. And let's look at an example of a bad one. This is the healthy lung. Yeah, I got one. Yep, you got your gloves on. That's okay. Okay. I got it now. This is. Now, this is an example of one that has been smoking too much. Yeah. Well, they're more like us than we think. No. Okay. Now, you can come, and now this one I can't inflate it because the lungs will burst. And you can feel around. It's got some tumors in it. You feel one? Yes, one there. Now, try this one right here. See how hard that is? That's it. But you notice the difference in the color. You can see from being exposed to nicotine and tar how the lungs are dark. And that's what's happening to the human lung when they smoke or been around smoking secondhand smoke. And eventually this lung will just collapse. Okay? All right. Yes, you can I can get it after I finish this. Yeah. Okay, now, do you have that PowerPoint ready? It would work. My son is not in there. They done disappeared on me. Well, let's take a break. Let me have a break, about 5 minutes break. I'm going to get it set up so I can just talk to you a little bit about some serious health problems, and then I'll open it up for some questions and answers. So just give me about 5 minutes.